I'm confident that the frequency is not unused. I've been listening for some time. This is K4PEW Net Control for the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net. I asked if there was any emergency traffic, but if there was, they'd already be on your screaming. I assume you know how to call 911 if you have an emergency. We'll be happy to help you if you can't do that. And that may be broken at any time for priority or emergency traffic. Can't imagine what priority would be over an emergency. For information on this net, you can see us on this net. You can see us right now on YouTube. Go to YouTube and put my call K4PEW into their search block. It will bring up, I think it's what's called a premiere. I never have looked for myself, so I'm not sure about that. Hang on one second. Am I getting out okay? I just realized, well, I haven't heard anything all evening, all day, because I was on the antenna disconnected. This is K4PEW. I presume everybody can hear me now. Just give me one answer. Anybody? K4PEW.
I hear you.
All right, very good. K4PEW Net Control. I'll start this over. I already started. Didn't realize I had the antenna. I wondered why. I need to look at the meter once in a while. I wasn't connected. Anyway, emergency traffic, if there is any, call 911. Otherwise, call us and we'll help you out. This is K4PEW. Where was I? Oh, yeah. For information on that, you can go to YouTube and go to put my call, K4PEW, into the search block, and it will bring up a premiere. And you can click on that, and you'll be able to see the analog meter of showing my lousy SWR when I'm not on frequency properly. Also, or if we're actually when I'm on the wrong antenna. If so, anyway, you can look at that, or you can hear, and you can hear other people who you might not normally hear through your own radio. Then you can also gauge how well you're doing as far as getting, at least to me. Hold on. You can also go to go to our website 146415.net. There's the information on Simplex. Go to groups.io and put in MJSS for Mount Juliet Simplex Society for to get on our mailing list, or to ask technical questions, or to see our net schedule. Or you can email me at k4pew@arrl.net. We normally meet at 8 p.m. every Wednesday and Saturday night. We do a variety of nets. I think we do 13 a week. It's everything in DMR, D-Star, Fusion, FM, rarely AM. We do, we also do upper sideband on 6 meters and 10 meters. Purpose of that is to have fun. See how well you're doing, how well you can hear, listen to others, see how well they do or how badly they do. Anyway, just for fun. We invite everyone to use the net for amateur radio events. The big events are the next approximately 10 days. Saturday, there is a breakfast at Golden Corral in Hermitage. Don't want to miss that. It's at 8 a.m. You don't have to be there at 8 a.m., but that's the time they open the doors, because they lock us out until 8 a.m. And we sit outside the doors like seagulls in a fishing boat before they clean the fish. You can also remember that the following weekend, Saturday the 19th and then Sunday the 20th, depending on which way you're going or not going, that is the Ham Fest that's in Huntsville. Don't want to miss that. That's the biggest event closest to us. The other ones that are obviously big, the only ones I know that are bigger than that there may be others. The ones I know are bigger than that. Orlando, but that's in February, and then the one in Xenia, Ohio, one that used to be called Dayton for about 100 years. That's in, I forget what that is, May? I don't know, whatever that is. Yes, because it's before, must be in May. Any other announcements? Oh yeah, 10 meter net, Sunday night. Tonight we're doing a 10 meter net, a 2 meter net, 10 meter net, and a size 220 net. There's also another 10 meter net on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. performed by, net controlled by Michael KM4YRF at 7:30 p.m., 28.415. And don't forget the breakfast Saturday, or the following Saturday is the Huntsville Hemp, which is always a lot of fun. It costs $15 to get in, but it's worth it. Of course, it's also an hour and a half drive. Not a big deal. Any other announcements we need to know about? My big announcement is to make sure that I'm on the right antenna before I start the net. Tonight is net number 923, I think, starting from the east. Well, first we're going to be asking for first-time check-ins or first-time check-ins. Oh yeah, people who are mobile or short on time.
KM4YRF.
Oh, you can't be short on time. How you doing, Michael?
Good. I have to be a short timer tonight. I've got company and they need my attention. So I'm checking in, and I won't be around for the other nets, but I'll catch up next week.
All right, sounds good. It was Michael KM4YRF. He's got a big shindigs at his house with visitors. Who else is short on time or mobile or first-time checking? Okay, we'll move right on to coming in from the east. Please come now. Well, that was a rousing answer. And nobody from the east tonight? Or are they just waiting until late? They didn't know we were starting with the east. I'll take north. Hello, Chris. Everything okay at your sector? Yo, Chris.
Yeah, I'm good over here. How about you?
I'm doing all right, I think. Yeah, things are going good. It was funny. I wonder why it was so quiet today on the radio. I hadn't got on it and I was listening. I'm just listening passively. Usually I hear some traffic, and there was nothing today, but it's because I had the wrong antenna.
Oh, you had to plug in the wrong time.
Yeah, no, I had the switch was connected to one. It wasn't going. It was on the right antenna. It was going to the wrong radio, the one I didn't have on.
Oh, I get it. Yep. Yep. I think I thought maybe you had it unplugged because of the storm coming through.
Nah, I ain't scared. I'm already independently poor. I mean, to lose some radios, you can't get any poorer than poor, can you?
No, not really. Once you hit the rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go.
No, that's right. And there's no poorhouse, so they said they have to live out on the street.
Right. Well, let's hope we got another round of storms tonight, but we don't get
I'm telling you, we do not need any more water or sunshine because my lawn looks like Jumanji.
Oh, debris. Right. I said it every week. But for a while there, it was good. Like, yeah, it looks like any city cut, but it's not overwhelming. And then out of nowhere, it's all clumped up because it got really big. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know. I was out there with a weed whacker today before it started raining a little bit, and I felt like I was George of the Jungle, cutting through weeds and everything.
Yeah, I still have. I'm spending a little bit of time out on my property, trying to chop up all the trees, and not little trees, big trees that fell down a couple weeks ago. Got like 4 down on my property. Just one of them half hanging up in another tree, and it's like looking at it going, how am I going to get that fixed out? So I think there's a chain attached to my truck in the future.
You didn't get that resolved? Did you get all those trees resolved, or you still got that one to go?
No, I got kind of taking a little at a time. So I've got one pretty much done, and then the other 2 I still got to get the done.
Yeah, all the debris I had collected since it was storm. Oh, during the freeze, I cut down all the shrubs and all that debris, and I had other limbs, and I ended up with a huge pile in the front line. It sat there because of the scheduling slowness of the city. I'm not complaining. No, it's free. I had this pile of wood in the front of my yard for almost wait a minute. It was since the 3rd week in June, and they just picked it up this past Friday. So it was it looked like it was just my neighbor across the street had the same problem, and I'm sure other people did too.
Yeah, apparently there's only one truck or something that they dispatch every day to go through and do it all. So I know I'm outside, just outside the city limits, so I don't get to partake in that. But I don't know. I'm sure not everybody can hear me because of my, maybe you can repeat it. If anybody anybody knows if Wilson County has the same type of thing going on, I'd like to know because I couldn't find it.
I'll bet they don't. Does anybody know if Wilson County has a pickup service for debris and trash for like storm damage? That was a big no answer.
Yeah, we'll get over.
All right, not that I know. I know Mount Juliet. I'm thrilled that they do that. I mean, it's because I've had a bunch of stuff out there several times due to the tornado and high winds and just the freeze, and I probably offloaded enough lumber to build a couple of houses.
Yeah, it is really nice. It's a shame I'm like about 1 mile away from taking advantage of that service, but I enjoy living outside of the city limits for other reasons. So.
Oh, yeah, you missed the city taxes anyway. All right, anything else for the net, Chris?
Nothing, sir. Everybody be careful out there tonight. 73, thanks for listening, Paul.
Very good. That was Chris in Rural Hill, right outside of all city limits. He doesn't get the services of free wood pickup. I say free wood. It won't take anything over 4 or 5 inches in the diameter. No root balls, they warn you. We're not picking up root balls. Well, thanks for that warning. I was threatening my wife that I was going to start the whole thing on fire in the front yard. And by the way, that was Chris, Kilo Quebec 4 Alpha Echo Tango. Who else is north or east?
Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, Michael in Lebanon.
Hello, Michael. You faring well today?
Doing okay. Made it to that first round. Looking forward to the next round after midnight.
After midnight. Oh, yeah, today wasn't too bad. Did you have much of anything going on? Because it rained some here, but nothing terrible.
Now, there wasn't a whole lot to it this afternoon. They built it up like it was going to be something. Now they're saying it's really going to be something about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no, I lived in Florida for 36, a little over 36 years. I don't remember how many. Over 36. And hurricane season was always weather crazy people season because this one's going to be the big one. And of course, everybody else is talking about we're due in 36 years. Didn't have one stinking hurricane hit Tampa.
Well, I got down to Key West, Florida right after they had a hurricane in 1980, and there was water everywhere I looked, but I didn't have to go through another one the next 3 years I was there.
Oh, yeah, I went down to Marathon right after, I forget which hurricane it was, it blew through the Keys. And they had obviously taken a bulldozer on US 1 and bulldozed off all the debris, seaweed, whatever else blew up on the on the road. Because most sites look like you're going down a corridor, going down the highway.
Well, I checked in there in November of 1980, and it was in the evening time. The sun had already gone down because it was November, and I'm driving. They're checking into the squadron down there, and they're driving up there in the duty truck. All I see is water. I'm wondering what road we're actually on because everything looks like it's underwater. So it was my first experience and my first thing going, what have I got myself into?
Well, that's what's interesting about driving down through the Keys to begin with, is that most of the time you look on either side of the road, you can either see the Gulf of Mexico or the Atlantic Ocean.
That's true. I know. I went back to visit family a couple of years after I got there, and as I drove back down, it was nasty weather going down there. When I got down there, I called my mom and dad, and they said, "What are you doing? Where are you at?" I said, "I'm in Key West. I was just letting you know I got there." They were like, "We heard they were evacuating Key West because of the hurricane." I said, "Well, I didn't see them."
Oh, that's fun. I don't think the Navy would ever evacuate. They might take planes away or something, but I don't think they'd evacuate.
They didn't when I was down there. Even the hurricane that actually hit the Key West and everything, all the people were there. They just flew out the aircraft.
Right. Yeah, that's all they did for that hurricane in 90, whatever year that was. I forget the name of it. The one hit 90 something, because that's the one that pretty much wiped out the air base at Homestead.
Well, and that's the way it was when I was in Virginia Beach. We'd fly our aircraft to Oklahoma from Virginia Beach, and the ones we couldn't get to fly out, we rode out right there in the hangar with them.
Oh, wow. Well, do they lock those down inside the hangar? Are they able to be tied down?
Yeah, they do. As many as they can. Now, the rest of them, they'll tie down on the flight line. I know at one point in time, I was on the Eisenhower, and we pulled out of port suddenly to go circle around behind the hurricane, and we were gone for about 3 days on about short notice.
Oh, wow. Man, that's a lot of expensive stuff to lose in a bad storm.
Oh yes, we never lost one of the squadrons I was in. Like I said, anything that could fly flew out, and anything that wasn't going to be able to make it, the hangar queens were all tied down inside the hangar.
Yeah, very good. You just reminded me, we were in Japan, and we were going to stay another couple of days, but our schedule changed because there was one of those, well, they don't call them hurricanes, what do they call them? Cyclones coming. It said it was going to hit straight on where we were. So we left port. I'm thinking, I think I'd rather be in port than out at sea, but never happened. So it didn't. Another one of those just didn't happen, even though they had a big warning about it.
Well, I know in Norfolk, Virginia, that when the hurricane was coming up the coast, all the ships went to sea. Nothing stayed in port because that was the worst place to be, was tied up to a pier.
Oh yeah, you can't have ships knocking against each other on heavy import seas. Huh?
So, like I say, you might get short notice. You got to leave your family on the beach, and you got to go to sea, and hopefully they'll be taken care of.
Oh yeah, well that's one of the other risks of being in the Navy or in any military operation, but the Navy in particular, because they just leave port when bad weather's coming.
That's the truth. Well, I'll let you get back to it, Paul, and hopefully we won't have too many storms over the night, and everything will be okay. I'll talk to you soon. 73T is Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Yeah, very good. That was Michael. He's in Lebanon. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa. Who else is? He's retired. Not Navy, by the way. I'm retired too after 4 years. And I decided that was enough. No retirement income from 4 years. But who else? Who else is wherever I was? East or north?
Okay, I'm for executing.
Hello, Stan. Everything good? Yo, Stan. Everything good?
Doing good, Paul. How about you?
Oh, very good. I was out there sweating to the oldies out there, and before it started to rain, and it was muggy out today.
Yeah, we're sure enough muggy after it rained.
Oh, even before it rained, it was pretty uncomfortable. I mean, it doesn't matter though. I'm used to it really. But I was sweating something fierce doing all that weed whack.
Yeah, it's August in Tennessee.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. You can't hack it. You need to live in the Arctic region or something.
No, I kind of hate it here in the summertime because my allergies give me so many problems.
Oh yeah, that was a problem. That's a problem living in Florida as well. When I lived there, you can't live there if you have allergy problems.
No, the past couple of weeks it's been pretty terrible for me here.
Oh, there's been terrible growth of everything. I'm sure. What bothers you the most? Ragweed.
The ragweed does, and I have allergies to different kinds of trees and grass.
Oh yeah. What's that one? I forget that one that has all the little tiny white things on them. What are those called? I forgot.
I don't remember.
I'll think of it later. Doesn't matter. Anyway, anything else good, Stan?
No, that's all, Paul. I want to hold you up. Back to that. Okay, I'm for HQ.
Yeah, very good. That was Stan. He's in Lebanon. Kilo Mike 4 Hotel Quebec Echo. East or north?
WB0 NOO.
Hello, Mark. How are you today?
Doing well. Trying to stay dry.
Gonna go down to Huntsville?
No, don't think so. Not this year.
Somebody else is gonna beat you to that $1 a bag.
Well, they might. Cat's out of the bag now. I guess somebody will take it over.
You don't know if Robin's going to, or he's got a. Sometimes he has a table down there. I know he did last year.
Yeah, he is going. He talked to me, trying to talk me into going. I think he's got several tables down there.
Well, he's got a lot of irons in the fire, as you might say. He's got all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, he does, and a lot of it is big, heavy stuff.
Yeah, I feel for those guys who have a lot of stuff. Some of those guys got dozens and dozens of radios, and you got to haul it all in and haul it all out because it seems they only ever sell. I never see anybody at the end of the Hamfest empty table.
Yeah. Some of those guys do seem to bring the same 40-year-old Tektronix scopes and signal generators and stuff that looks like World War II surplus. They have a lot of it, and it's heavy.
What I get a kick out of it, I don't remember if I saw it at a Hamfest or I saw one online. I forget what it was, and they were showing. Just don't recall. Doesn't matter because all I can remember is it was one of those. I think it was one of those old Tektronix 545 Alphas, which I was familiar with. That's why it caught my eye, and it had the side panel off on one side of it, and I forgot how much of a bird nest that thing looks like.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had one of those. Had several plug-ins for it, and then I had it on a roll-around cart that would angle it up so you could sit on a stool and look at it. And it was a great scope, but it must have weighed, I don't know, 75, 80 pounds.
Yes, it's definitely enough for portable use. I think it even had a handle though, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it had a handle big enough for two hands.
Yeah, they probably call it the hernia handle.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's what caused my hernia. I don't know. Anyway, I used to have a bunch of that kind of stuff. Old measurements, Model 80 signal generators that were almost as big as the scope, and things have changed.
Oh yeah, we had a I think you called it a decade box. It was in the military, one in our little shop for our work area for the sonar equipment. And it was one of those you could dial down to the crazy any resistance level you could possibly imagine in this decade box. It was an amazing thing. It probably weighed 30 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. I remember Heathkit had a version of that. I never had one. I just had a drawer full of resistors that every one of them had a little bit of solder on the leads.
That's the hit and miss method, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it worked.
Oh yeah, well, very good. Anything else for the net, Mark?
Nope, not a thing. And I probably won't see you on 10 tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll miss you. We'll miss you by your absence, because that would make sense if you're not there, wouldn't it?
Right.
Very good. That was Mark up in Northwest Wilson County. Whiskey Bravo 0 November Oscar. Who else is east or north? That was either a great double or a really loud, ugly signal. Who is that? Is that Steve? Oh, KO4 Bravo, K4 Bravo. Wow, your signal really went down in the dirt today there, Ricky. You can follow me, Ricky? Oh, on a backup antenna. Yeah, really, really bad. I mean, you're just noisy as all get out. I haven't heard you this bad in a long time. I like it better when you're not on your backup antenna, though. Oh, very good. So I think I heard you right. I missed a lot of that due to the noise, but you're going to be back up and running, I guess, Saturday or there next week anyway. Be back up and running. That'll be great because that is really, really, really noisy. I'm glad you made it in. Ricky, you have a good day. I don't want to finish the conversation with any more because I can barely hear what you're saying. Anyway, that was Ricky. That's Kilo 4 Whiskey Bravo Whiskey Alpha. He's in Portland and he does the net on Thursday night. Simplex Net. That's tomorrow night. Tomorrow night? Yeah, tomorrow night on 147. Golly, I forgot what the frequency is. 555. Yeah, I can send out a reminder, so I know it's on the reminder anyway. You guys who get around the reminder system for the emails, you'll see it there. Anyway, who else is that was Ricky, Kilo for Bravo Whiskey Alpha. Who else is east or north?
KG.
Okay, hold on. Was that KG4 CXE? I think that was Chris. I heard in there. I also heard that other station. I didn't catch who it was. How goes it, Chris?
Hey, Paul. Yeah, I keyed up and
thought to myself, I think I seen a signal come up right as I was keying up, so I didn't want to step on them. But I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, doing pretty good for an old man.
Well, that's good. I mean, it don't matter your age as long as you're doing all right.
Well, it's what I. How was that? There was a saying. I forgot what it was. I said, I'm still pretty bad, but you should have seen me before. You know.
Yeah, I can't complain, but sometimes I still do, right?
No, it's okay. It's I'm not. My wife keeps saying, "Well, you're not 30 years old." I'm well aware of that.
Oh, if you feel that way, that's good.
No, it's like a lot of things as you grow older, you look back and you said, man, when I was 30, I thought 74 was ancient. I mean, that was like, that's older than my grandmother was when I was a teen, you know?
Well, that's a good way to look at it then.
No, it is. I've actually made that, you make that comparison in a way, relationships to people either younger than you or like my brother he's 17 years younger than me. So his kids, his one son who is around 28, he has the same age relationship to me as I had to my mother's dad, my grandfather. That's what the difference is, because he was born, when my brother was about 26 or 27. And here, I was already 17 years older than him when he was born.
Yeah, that's wild.
No, it's just funny. I know there's other people who have similar things, who have big families. And Robin's a K4 IDZ. He's the youngest of like 5, and his oldest brother is older than me.
Yeah, my grandmother had I think it was 6 actually. And the other, as the family moved on, it seems like that they stopped, having as many kids, and just 2 generally.
Yeah, from the old world, I guess it was just that old. I'll say it's old Catholic teaching, because but it wasn't just limited to Catholics. People had a lot of big families. I had on my mother's side of the family. No, excuse me. On both sides of the family, they had one of them had 13 kids, another had close to 20.
That's so wild to me.
Well, like I met a kid in the military, and he at the time I was 19 and he was 19, and we were just asking about family, and he goes, oh, he was from Rochester, New York, which was kind of near where I grew up, and he says, yes, I'm the youngest of 19 kids. I said, real? And he goes, yeah, because there I was practically an only child with one brother. He was a baby when I left home. And I said, what's the story? He goes, oh yeah, I'm 19. His oldest brother was in his 60s. Imagine this. And he showed me a picture of his dad with his oldest brother. He had one of those fruit and vegetable push carts in downtown Rochester, making a living back in the 1920s.
Wow.
That's just crazy. It's kind of funny when and I said, so you hold your reunions where, at Buffalo Memorial Auditorium?
So if he was the youngest, does that mean that the father was 60?
Yeah, his father was. Oh yeah, at least I'd have to do the math on that. He was 19. His oldest brother was. No, his dad was like 80 at that point. He was like 80 years old, and his oldest brother was in his 60s.
Yeah, so that means that if the dad was 80 and the kid, so the kid was born, essentially the guy that you were in the military with, when the father was 60 is kind of what it sounds like. So he was having kids when he was 60. That's kind of keeping up with it.
Yeah, well, like I said, that one relative I had, he had, I think it was 19. I forget what it was, 19 or 20 kids. I'd have to look. But it was, the first wife died. He goes, oh, I got to keep going.
Man, I mean, that's. I guess if you got to run a farm, or no, I'm just kidding. Free labor.
No, it's really true though. I mean, he did. He was a farmer. Yeah, he had all those kids. And, boy, I can't imagine that idea, because I mean, I had 3 kids, and that was hard enough. I just can't imagine having 19 and living off the land, because it's not like they had. I don't know. There was no social security. There was nothing in that era. It was in the 1800s, the early 1900s.
Yeah, the farm had to be doing really well. I mean, but yeah, the numbers say that there was a lot of mouths to feed over there.
No, it's amazing when I think about it, how you could have that many kids. I mean, the largest family that I was familiar with in my era of even people I knew Aside from my one uncle, he had 7 kids, and that was a huge family to me. That was just monstrous, and I couldn't imagine. I loved being with them because there were 7 guys, 7 people to mess around with. All I'm saying is that, but most of the families that I knew in my circle of friends and relatives in the city I grew up in, the largest family might have been 5 kids. Might, after, because it's gotten slower. Now we're not even replacement. It's the average, I think, is 1.8 children. Obviously, nobody has a decimal children, but yes, the average is 1.8 per couple.
Yep, that's about what it sounds like. Yeah, and I think 6 was probably the max that I really knew of as well, and that was from my grandmother. So yeah, it's changed. Times have changed.
Yeah, but what's funny is that I can't imagine. I was, even when I was a kid, and I was the only child until I was 17, almost 18, and I wanted a brother or sister. And my mother, for whatever reason, supposedly I was such a big child, she couldn't have it. She was told you need to be careful about having any more kids because this kid mess you up inside. And I remember she tells me the story, which I don't know if I remember because she tells me the story or because I remember it. But we were in Sears, which was a common thing back in those days. And Sears had a catalog area in Sears. And I asked my mother, I says, "Can I order a brother or sister?" She said, "Sure, let's do it." And I filled out a form to order a brother.
Did you ever hear back?
No, I'm sure they just humored us.
That's wild.
Well, Sears, you could get anything from Sears. Sears was the Amazon of its day,
Oh yeah, definitely. It was the mail order, pretty much the only thing. That's kind of interesting. And of course, I remember going to the stores when they were around here still.
I was reading, quickly said, I was reading the history of Sears some years ago, and it said when Sears first got rolling and got very big in the United States, which is where it started in Chicago, they had so many mail-in orders they couldn't even handle them all, the mail volume, and they actually had sometimes they just threw the mail out. They just because they couldn't handle all the orders.
That's one way to deal with it.
Now you just ignore the emails,
Yeah, it's another form of throwing the mail out.
Yeah, very good. Anything else for the night, Chris?
No, that's all I've got, Paul. 73.
Yeah, that was Chris, KG4, Charlie X-Ray Echo. He is in Rural Hill. Who else? Who was that Kilo station in? Who was it doubled with Chris by accident? I must have lost him. He was either mobile or something. It was a really low signal. All right. Anybody else, east or north?
N8NHT.
N8NHT. How you doing, Hayes?
I'm okay. Just figured I'd come up and see how that's doing. Yeah, I remember my dad always talked about Sears, but he until the day he died, he called it Sears and Roebuck.
Oh yeah, it was always Sears. You're right, it was. But Sears it really was like a focal point, really, for if you wanted something, that's where you went because they had everything. They had paint and hardware, just like a major, like a Lowe's. And not all of it was right in the store though. And they had the biggest catalog operation of any company, I think, on the planet. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was a little younger to see the heyday of Sears, but it was still, up and running and a store that was legit. And for a while, I don't even know if there are any more Sears open anymore or not. I know they kind of merged with Kmart, and last I heard there might be a few left, but not many at all.
I tell you what, as a kid, that was your fantasy island. It's like you have on the web. And I remember one thing. It's funny how with the silly things you remember about going in the store was. I remember it right at the entrance, the one major entrance. They had it up on a display that I thought was if I could have that, I'd be the biggest. That would be my dream. And it was a Sears, one of those motorbikes, scooter kind of bikes, that you could pedal or use the motor on it. And I remember being white, and I said, man, if I could just have one of those, which was absurd because my parents could just barely afford to feed and clothe me.
Yeah. I guess when by the time I was noticing everything, there were many competitors to Sears, but it was still had some higher end stuff and all that.
Oh yeah, well the other thing that Sears was good at, and that was in a whole different retail operation than you see now anywhere. I'm sure there's something similar in some places, but if you went into Sears Even if you just started looking at appliances, there'd be a salesman hounding you from the moment you walked in there. If you were in the paint department, can I help you? I mean, actually when you went in Sears, you say, "Hey, back off, dude. I'm just looking."
Yeah, and nowadays, so many places you can't find anyone when you're looking for it. You have to go search and search. Finally, you do find someone like, oh, that's not my department.
No, now it's if you do find somebody, you're hoping they speak English.
Yeah, there's that too. Except for Ace Hardware, man, they always take. There's somebody always comes right down the aisle and asks what I want as soon as I go in there. I like it because
Oh no, that's an Ace Hardware's. I think are all independently owned, aren't they?
I guess so. Whatever it is, their service is great. I go there largely because of that.
Oh, I don't even know of any Ace Hardwares in my area. There may be something in Davidson County, but I'm not aware of it here anywhere in Wilson County.
Yeah, there's one here in Hendersonville, right 5 minutes from where I live, which is also really, really convenient. But well, I won't try to talk to you, Paul. I know there's probably other people out there, and I'll be standing by listening to the net. K4PW, this is N8NHT, and I will say back to net.
Very good. That was Hayes. He's in Hendersonville, November 8th, November Hotel. Yeah, N8, yeah. November Hotel Tango. I was scribbling here, and he's in Hendersonville. Who else is north or east?
Kilo India 4 Zulu Delta Golf. Kevin in Clayville.
Hey, Kevin. You got a great signal, but of course you're in Cleveland.
Yeah, it's using the old Icon 705 this evening.
Oh, I'm trying to remember how old that radio is. 705. You know how old it is?
It's not very old.
Okay, I didn't remember the numbers on Icon. I don't keep up with those like I do the others.
Yeah, just listen to me. I'll talk about Sears. I never did mind going to Sears when I was a kid, but the place I hated going was that service merchandise. I hated that place because it was going to be we were going to be there forever, and I wasn't going to have anything to do.
Yeah, it's service merchandise. I went in there. That's one of my silly memories of service merchandise was I went in there to buy something, and it was really at the end of its life, that service merchandise that I was near in Tampa, and I went in, whatever I ordered, I have no idea what it was. And the guy came and was okay. He made a transaction on that big printer retail machine they had in there. If you remember that big printer, monstrous machine to do the recording and transaction. And and those are the days that were still a lot of cash. And I gave him $100 bill. He had to get manager approval to take $100 bill.
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive for back then. You know, I mean, I would imagine nowadays they wouldn't even know what $100 bill is.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. I just remember that being silly. And I remember thinking, what do I need, a cosigner for $100 bill?
I heard you also talking about Ace Hardware. We used to have an Ace Hardware here in Mount Juliet. It was, I think it's like a workout place maybe, and maybe like a bakery or fun cake place or whatever. Yeah, I was sorely disappointed when the Ace Hardware went away.
Oh yeah, that was the one. I remember that afterwards. That closed, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it's been closed for a while, but yeah, that was our last Ace Hardware. If I go want Ace Hardware now, I got to go over to Smyrna for one.
Well, it's funny that I had to go over. I had not a specialty, but I needed a specific handful of nuts and bolts that were unique. At least the lock washer was the lock nut was unique, one of those nylon lock nuts. And I went into there, and this guy comes up to this guy. He had to be 80. His name is Bill. If you see him over there, just ask for Bill, man. He's awesome. He was, "Can I help you?" I go, "Yeah, just looking for some hardware." He goes, "What kind?" I mean, he actually knew what I said, "Well, I'm looking for this size, this thread count, and this nylon lock washer." Okay, right. And he walks over and he goes right to the spot. And he goes, "These are the ones you want?" "Yeah, they are. Thank you." It was funny. It was just, I hadn't had that kind of service in there in years.
Oh yeah, those old guys are always a wealth of knowledge.
Oh yeah, no, it was great because I'm sure you've been in the hardware section at Lowe's. They got big long aisle just full of nuts and bolts and screws of every imaginable thing,
Oh yeah, I despise going to Lowe's for hardware, but that's usually where I end up.
No, that's what was great about Ace Hardware was. It was easy, they'd help you with anything. you don't necessarily get that same service in a place like Lowe's or Home Depot.
For sure.
Anyway, anything else for the net?
No, sir. Appreciate you tonight.
All right, very good. That's Kevin in Gladeville. Kilo India 4 Zulu Delta Golf. Who else is east or north? 4 west.
KO4, okay.
Very good. Was that you earlier there, Roy? Did I miss you?
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of static out there. No big deal.
Oh yeah, very static. What antenna are you on?
This is my base and this is my cubic rod. But still, I'm just getting a lot of noise out there.
Oh yeah, you're pretty noisy. A lot of static in there. You doing all right?
Yep, all's well. Another long day of dancing the last couple of days, but all is well. I'm working on my new hot spot. I just got an open spot. Just trying to get it up and running. Everything's good.
Yeah, you almost need an associate's degree to get it up and running, eh?
Yeah, but I got it. It's on that D-Star radio, my 52 on the comp, and so it's all plugged in and cross modes and all that. So working on it.
Ah, very good. Yeah, your signal is really low, but I can still copy it. You're just about one, barely over 1 dB, gain here. So I'm not sure what. But I do know what's going on. But anyway, anything else for the net, Roy? I'll take that as a no. That was Roy. Kilo Oscar 4 Oscar Kilo Echo. He is in Madison. Who else is west?
KG4 ILV, Jack and Donaldson.
I hope you were copying Roy better than me. He was noisy.
Yeah, I didn't hear any noise on it, but I'm not that far away from Madison.
No, you just do south. What is it? A couple, 3 miles, and 4 miles.
Yeah, something like that, just across the river.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, it should be a breeze for you, but no, for here, I can't wait to get my good antenna back up. That'll be a thrill.
Have you got any new information on your delivery date?
No, I got to go see the psychic, see what's going on.
Okay, Paul, thanks for doing the net. I'll see you on the next one.
Very good. That was Jack, Kilo Golf 4 India Lima Victor. He is in Donaldson, the north end of Donaldson. Who else is west? K4WKU. You busted through the noise. I hear you in there, Steve. How you doing? Oh man, a terrible copy. I couldn't understand one word. I knew you were there and I could hear you talking, but I didn't discern anything you said. Put up a 10 element beam. All right, listen, I do appreciate. I can't understand what you're saying, but I could hear your call just through the mud, and I do appreciate you checking in. I can't wait till I get my good antenna up, back up whenever that comes. Probably another couple of months. No, I'm going to try to get another antenna up in the interim here. Anyway, that was Steve. He's in north of Bowling Green, 65 miles, and so he's gotten through the mud for 65 miles today. That was Kilo 4 Whiskey Kilo Uniform, just north of Bowling Green. Who else is almost due north of me? Who else is west? West or anywhere?
Kilo Echo 4, yeah, Yankee Victor.
Very good. I don't think I called south, did I? Anyway, that was Larry. How you doing, Larry?
All right, man. I don't know if you call it or not. I just did it, but we'll let you go with it. All okay.
All right, very good. That was Larry. Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor. He's in Rockville. Anybody else? South or west or south, please come in.
K3 NPR's on Paul.
Okay, very good. There was another station. There was a double in there, I think, but the one station was really noisy, and then you jumped in there. How you doing, Michael?
Doing good. I'm like everybody else. I'm going to miss the Huntsville thing, but been looking at some of the weather radar tracks, and I think most of that bad weather is going to just slip south of Nashville. But it's just there's still a lot of time for it to keep building. Just have to wait and see. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of rain. There's no doubt there.
Yeah, it's not like we need rain. It's really funny how much, and it's not nothing wrong with it. It sure does keep the Horseshoe Priest Lake full, though.
Hey, I'd rather see him being forced to release some water than
Oh no, it's all good. I mean, well, it doesn't really matter what our opinions are, Mike, because we can't make it stop and we can't make it rain more. We're at the mercy of the weather systems.
Yeah, I was just watching some video on those fires out in Hawaii. Holy mackerel! I mean, a couple towns completely gone, and I mean, it's definitely looks like the end of time type videos.
Wow. Yeah, the volcanoes aren't bad enough. They got to have fires.
You know, they didn't say what started it, but I tell you what, that is unbelievable size fire.
Yeah, I haven't followed that story at all. It is that bad, though. I mean, actually, towns are wiped out.
You know, they're kind of phrasing that the entire island is on fire. The island of Maui.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds bad. Well, you hate to see anything like that, really. Just anytime, like those fires in Canada were just astounding. How many tens? I think it might have been over 1 million acres. I forget what the numbers were. It was huge.
I mean, the whole thing, they admit that in itself is a lot of forest mismanagement, which is typically what it is here in the United States. I mean, it's years ago they used to burn the underbrush and everything every, 10 years or so, and then the nature nuts got involved and they quit doing it at all, and then you get a fire and you can't control it.
Yeah, but I'm guessing, Mike, to be fair, for a country as big as Canada is, and as much woods that forest that they have, I think it would be impossible to manage the forest in such a way that you could possibly even stop 10% of the fires.
You'd be shocked on how much land is actually owned by the paper companies and supposedly managed by them.
Oh no, you're right. And even in this country, they've got millions of acres of trees, and a lot of are are farms more than they are just managed forests.
Yeah, I've got a cousin that manages the forest for a meat paper company, and he lives up towards Columbus, Ohio. His territory is unbelievably huge.
Oh, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. The neat part about I don't know. That's a huge thing because I know that Weyerhaeuser and Boise Cascade and like you said, Mead. I forgot about Mead, but those guys own. You're right, millions of acres of just nothing but trees. Or when I say trees, it's farming trees because a lot of them they're planted and they can harvest them at 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, of course, one of the neatest things I saw was back when I worked down on Ascension Island back in the late 1800s, where the British sailors had planted lodgepole pines. So if ships ever lost a mast, they could pull into Ascension, go up on the mountain, chop down a big old tree, and have a new ship's mast.
Well, as they say, Mike, that's in the days when men were steel and ships were wood.
Yep, the manly men. But yeah, definitely I'll listen that back to you, Paul. And, I got the icon cranked up, just waiting for that to come up.
Yeah, I got it. Because the area where I grew up there in the Niagara River is where the French explorer Lassalle, he made his way over to that point on the Great Lakes, along the river, which is connecting two Great Lakes. And they actually, here's this crew of, I don't know how you remember, I have to look and see how many were in the expedition, but they actually went ashore and they proceeded to build a craft, to build a sailing ship, big sailing ship, to sail the rest of the Great Lakes, or not all of the Great Lakes. He's never been on the Great Lakes. He was the first explorer to go that far beyond Lake Erie. And try to imagine you're just gonna cut down local trees and make a sinking ship, and have all the stuff it takes to hand make a ship. So I just can't. That's why I say those people in that era, man, they knew their stuff.
Without a doubt. I mean, there's a lot of history even up there.
Oh, man, there was really. Anyway, that was Mike at K3MPR. He is here in Mount Juliet, just a mile or two east of me. Who else is any place anywhere, including east and south?
KO4 SSW Kilo Oscar 4 Sierra Whiskey. This is Blair.
Hey, Blair, refresh my memory. Where are you located?
In Mount Juliet. Just moved here from Atlanta a couple months ago.
Ah, very good. What brought you to Mount Juliet?
It was time to move out of Atlanta. It wasn't a nice place to be. Plus, our son moved here, so we decided to be close to grandson, so we moved up here too.
Well, I'm guessing the big city got too big and too fast.
That's an understatement for Atlanta right now. It seems like there's more and more people coming there every day. I'm gone for a couple weeks at a time and have to go back for parents and for the business stuff. And I can't believe the changes just in a couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, no, the first time I was in Atlanta, 80s, 83, 82, somewhere in that area. I flew up to Atlanta for a conference from Florida, and it was the first time I was actually in the city itself. And I could not believe how much, and that was back in early 80s, how much they were in the process of building all of those, the major parts of what you now have. I'm sure there's more added to it, the interstate. I just couldn't believe how much stuff was going on in that city. And now it's a monster. I would not want to live there.
Well, we're of the same thought, so we don't live there anymore, and we're really enjoying Mount Juliet and being in this area.
Oh, yeah, the traffic here must seem pretty minor compared to Atlanta.
It is funny. I hear people say, gee, sorry the traffic's so bad, and I kind of snicker and say, you obviously have not driven in Atlanta. This traffic is wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. I was just up in the Washington, D.C. area, and last month I was in the New York metro area, just a little bit east of New York City. And once you've driven and been in those, like you say, Atlanta or New York City area or Washington, D.C. area, it makes this place look like Mayberry.
I tell you, Washington, D.C. is interesting. I run a nonprofit group called Honor Flight. It's actually still based in Atlanta, but we take veterans from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam up to D.C. for the day to visit memorials. And up until COVID, we actually got police escorts for our charter buses through the Park Services because without it, it's almost impossible to get through that town.
Oh, I'm confident you're right. Oh, so do you manage the U.S. operations?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, do you manage the U.S. operations for Honor Flight?
Well, Honor Flight, it's a nonprofit group that where our mission is to take veterans to Vietnam to visit the memorials. So we're all local hubs that answer to the main group that's in Washington, D.C. So it's all the United States.
Oh, okay, very good. I wasn't sure how that was managed. No, I'm familiar with that. I had a close family friend who he passed away a few years ago, but at 96, I think he was. But he was a World War II veteran, a couple of Purple Hearts, and was in the Battle of the Bulge and all that stuff. And I've got a video of him taking the Honor Flight up to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, unfortunately, World War II veterans, if you can find them, they're not healthy enough to go anymore. I haven't taken a World War II vet since COVID.
No, because when you do the math, even if they were 17 in 1945, you can do the math from there. That would make them somewhere around 97, or I forget what the year. I have to do the math again.
Yeah, I've got a couple of World War II veterans that are supposed to go with us next year, but we'll see if they can make it or not. Hopefully they can.
Yeah, it's rough. Like I said, you could be 17 and possibly even 16 in 1945 and still be in the Army if you lied, I think. And you figure you add 55, 65, 7 is 72, and then you add 82, 92, and 3. Now you'd have to be 95 is the minimum age. 95 years old right now to be in World War II.
Well, there's a lot of guys that lied to get in, but yeah, even if they're still around at 95, it's tough for them to go at this point.
Oh, that's cool. Now, an Honor Flight is a cool thing. It really is. Where do they get all that funding? If you don't mind, I'm sure it's open and it's not like there's a secret, but man, you guys must get some good funding from some people.
We are 100% donation.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's cool. That really is cool. Yeah, I was. It was the first thing I did when I went to Washington as an adult. I was there as a kid, but we just saw the Lincoln Memorial, and now and I haven't seen the World War II Memorial, but that was the first thing I did when I went to Washington D.C. back in the 80s. Was go see the Vietnam Memorial and the Korean War Memorial, which are both impressive.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're definitely the World War II memorials worth a visit. And what's really cool is if you ever get a chance to tour DC at night, that's incredible with all the lights and everything.
Oh, I can imagine. Actually, in terms of it, like I said, I want to see the World War II memorial, but the Korean War memorial is one of the best I've ever seen. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they did some major renovations to it during COVID, and they now have a wall at the Korean Memorial as well that lists all the people who we lost.
Oh wow, yeah, that was impressive because you feel like you're part of it when you see all those soldiers climbing the hill in their rain gear.
And imagine walking through that at night.
Oh yeah, no, I was there during the day. I was impressed anyway. It was a very impressive visit there. It's the thing of it is that most people don't realize what sacrifice that our country, these people, these men and women who slogged through the messes of all the wars, and then and a lot of them gave their lives. So it's a big deal to me.
Yeah, it should be a big deal to everybody. Fortunately, especially for the Vietnam guys, I get at least one on every trip that come up to me when we get done and say that they thank me and shake my hand and say we feel like we finally got our welcome home that we didn't get back in the 70s.
Yep, I'm one of those guys.
Well, you guys got a raw deal back there, so you deserve to be welcomed home properly.
Yeah, it wasn't that I got a raw deal. It's just that due to the way the culture was, and I got home in '72, when I got out of the Navy, you knew that it wasn't a good idea to tell people where you'd been. You just didn't say. You just didn't. Yeah, I was in the Navy. Just left it at that.
Yeah, I wrote all kinds of stories of them getting people off of planes, getting veterans off the planes, and taking them someplace up at the airport so they could change their clothes before they go out to the general public, so they're still in uniform.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a weird time. It really was. And they didn't really resolve that, at least culturally, until the first Gulf War, when everybody made a big deal about us beating the poor old Iraqis. Huh?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm glad culture's changed to that now.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, but even today, statistically, there's two issues. We have the lowest number of military people who've been in the military in Congress, and we also have the lowest. I'm trying to remember what it is. I think we met. I'm not sure how about many people in the military, but that issue about having no military people in Congress is amazing to me. I mean, right now, the president, the vice president. Not that I'm critical because of their politics. It's just that we have so many people in elected office who aren't really familiar with the military.
Let's say wasn't I guess the second Bush wasn't. He was National Guard, so I guess first Bush was the last real military person we had as president.
Yeah, and his record was because he was flying as an enlisted man. He was the youngest flyer in World War II.
Yeah, something like that. I didn't realize he was enlisted, but yeah, I remember he was one of the youngest ones and had an interesting career, that's for sure.
Yeah, Reagan was in the military too, but he was in the movie promotion business, selling bonds and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was important too. We had to pay for it.
Oh yeah, well, I'll just say that the military, especially like during World War II, was a huge sacrifice for everybody.
I've heard stories, but I haven't lived through anything like that. But yeah, it definitely was a sacrifice for everybody.
Yep, I'm just, I feel blessed really, because one of the things that because I was born in '49, I don't know how old you are, but all of the adults, not all, many of the adult men I served with, as I growing up with, were veterans of World War II. And even also veterans, sometimes both veterans of World War II and Korea. So, and then a lot of the people that in my family, they worked at the where they built airplanes at one of the big war plants. So I had this huge group of people around. We didn't think twice about it, but I had guys. You go into their office or their home, and you'd see their certificates or their memorabilia on the wall from World War II or Korea. It was impressive. As I look back on it, as a kid, I just took it. It was normal.
Yeah, you talk about somebody that was in World War II and Korea. We've had a couple of veterans that were World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veterans.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I had one just to finish that off. I had a guy he trained petty officers in the Navy. It was in 1970, and he was in Pearl Harbor when it got bombed. So it was his first duty station after basic training. So he was in Pearl Harbor in December of '41, and he had been on like 15 different ships. He had been 30 years in the Navy. Amazing, almost 30 years, because it was 1970, and he went in the military in 1941, and he had served in, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. The same kind of deal. It was impressive.
Yeah, my brother was 20 years in the Air Force, but so we definitely got a lot of military ties in several people in our family have been military, so we got a lot of ties to that here as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, good day. We can. You'll have to show up at a breakfast or something. We can talk about that some more. Blair, appreciate you calling in. And Blair's here in Mount Juliet. That's Kilo Oscar 4 Sierra Whiskey. Happy to be in Mount Juliet. I didn't ask you. Is anything else for the net?
No, that's it. KO4SSW.
Very good. Yes, Kilo Oscar 4 Sierra Whiskey. Here in Mount Juliet. Who else is any place anywhere? I can tell somebody's there, but you're not even bumping the needle, and I can just hear you talking, but I don't know what you're saying. Do I have a relay, maybe?
A relay.
Say again?
I got your relay. Hey, say it again one more time. It's Kilo Mike 4. Gotcha. Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee. Got that, Paul? K1SPD.
Oh, very good. That's Bill down in Murfreesboro. Bill, I'm glad you're in there. I could not even, normally I can at least make out who you are by your voice, but I didn't hear you this time. Conditions aren't that great from where you are anyway. Glad to have you in there, Bill. I'm going to, rather than make it sound worse than it is, because I really can't hear you. And Scott, I appreciate your relay. That was Bill, Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee in Murfreesboro. Scott, you checking in? Or are you going to you waiting for me to ask for lollygaggers and lurkers?
No, I don't want to drag it on too long. Yeah, check me in. K1SPD.
Very good. Yeah, I even had my list. I forgot I had a modified list, and I thought you'd appreciate it. I was waiting for that. I actually modified it some weeks ago. And it's sandbaggers, lollygaggers, lurkers, skulkers, slackers, lackeys, and toadies.
Oh, I thought you were going to throw my name in the group.
No. No, that's not a bad idea, though.
Carry on. K1SPD.
Very good. That's Scott. He's in Laverne, Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta. Who else is any place anywhere? Oh, wait a minute. Kilo Oscar 4. I heard a Yankee. Go ahead. Say again, please. Wow, I still didn't copy that last part. It's Kilo Oscar 4. And what were the last digits? Oh, is it Kilo Oscar 4 Yankee Echo Sierra? Very good. And your first name is, did I get that right, Mike? And you're where, Mike?
Juliet,
Okay, I didn't copy all that. We are really noisy on your signal, but where are you located? One more time on location. Oh, Oak Grove. Oak Grove. I think that's correct, right? Oak Grove. Yeah, very good. You got anything good for the net? Because I'm having a hard time, as you noticed, hearing you properly.
It's really, I just heard y'all checking in, and I'm trying to get to you. It's in and out on the positions right now, so I'm hearing you and not hearing you. So, y'all have a good night.
Well, don't give up on us. I've got a backup antenna I'm using, and it's not very good comparatively compared to my normal antenna. And I've got one on order. It's been on order for 2 months, and it won't be in probably for another 2 months. And I'm going to try to improve that. But Mike, I appreciate you checking in. It's Kilo Oscar 4 Yankee Echo Sierra. He's in Oak Grove. Anybody else any place anywhere? Okay, we're going to move right over. That was 19 on 2 meters, and we're going to jump over to we're going to jump over to 28.415 unless I hear a complaint, because otherwise we're looking for those sandbaggers, lollygaggers, lurkers, skulkers, slackers, lackeys, and toadies. Nothing heard. We're going to move over to 28415. We'll catch you there momentarily.
We did not.
This is Kilo 4 Pop Echo Whiskey with the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net here on 28415. Looking for check-ins. Please come down.
Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta.
Very good. Got you in there, Scott. Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta. Who else is any place, anywhere? Please come down.
Hey, switch antennas. Let me try it again. Any different?
Yeah, there is a slight improvement there. The audio is the signal. I think about the same, but the audio is better.
All right. What was first one vertical? Second one's the 40-meter loop.
Oh wow, well the 40-meter loop really did a little better. I was surprised because, as you know, I'm vertical. Very good. That was Scott on a 40-meter loop. Who else is? We'll just say from the south.
K3 NPR.
Very good. We got Michael in there from here in Mount Juliet. Kilo 3 Mike Papa Romeo. Who else is south? Anybody east or north?
KG4 CXC.
Very good. You using the old new antenna?
Yep, still using the loop.
Okay, very good. That's Kilo Golf 4 Charlie X-Ray Echo. He's in the Rural Hill. Who else is east? South or east?
Kilo for Zulu Delta Golf.
Very good. Zulu Delta Golf got you in there. That's Kevin. He's in Mount Juliet here. It's Kilo India 4, excuse me. Zulu in here. Again, you can say that. Kilo India 4 Zulu Delta Golf, Kevin. Who else is east or north? Or west?
KG4 ILV, Jack and Donaldson.
Very good, Jack. Nice strong signal out of Donaldson. That's Kilo Golf 4 India Lima Victor. Who else is west? West or south? Or anywhere? Anybody hearing anything I can't hear? Okay, we got nothing. We had a grand total of 6 tonight, which isn't. I think we do have some pretty bad conditions for anything that's not really close. That's been, and of course my antenna is this antenna should be able to hear it fine, but I don't know if this has anything to do with that solar flare that was going on a couple of days ago or not. Don't know. Anyway, let's move over to for those of you who can hear me, we're going to moving over to 223.415. Have a good night, everybody. K4PW.